Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Hello and welcome to ForumIAS. These are all the articles that we are going to discuss today. Without much further ado, let us go to the first article. The first article is about cheetah deaths in Madhya Pradesh. So basically, cheetahs were brought from two African countries, that is Namibia and South Africa. Why were they brought into India? Because cheetah became extinct in the wild in 1952. So since then there was no cheetah in India, and as a part of cheetah reintroduction project or Project Cheetah, cheetahs were brought from Namibia and South Africa. Out of that, recently, two of the cheetahs passed away. One of the cheetahs passed away because of kidney failure, and the other cheetah's death is being investigated. These cheetahs were introduced in Kuno National Park, KNP, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and within a gap of a month, two felines are dead. Felines meaning cat species. These are cheetahs, leopards, tigers, etc. are big cats. So there has been death of two felines. As we had already talked about, they came from Namibia and South Africa as a part of Project Cheetah, and we will see what is Project Cheetah in the upcoming slide. So basically, even before the cheetahs were reintroduced in India, the project directors, the project of Project Cheetah was conceived with the idea that there might be mortality. Mortality among cheetahs was expected, and Project Cheetah's planning factored this in. So they were expecting mortality. When you are directly transplanting a species from one continent to another continent, obviously there will be problems in adaptation, right? As a result of it, there might be deaths. Even if 50% of the cheetahs that were translocated would survive, even then this project can be considered as a success. So this was chosen as a success metric for Project Cheetah. So basically, after these deaths, the Madhya Pradesh Forest Department, they want these cheetahs to go to different sites so that their range can be diversified. So the alternate places that are looked at are Gandhi Sagar and Nauradehi wildlife sanctuaries, both of which are located in Madhya Pradesh only. Alright, so initially 20 cheetahs came from Namibia, and later this year in February some cheetahs came from South Africa. Though two cheetahs have died, there is one cheetah named Siaya. She recently gave birth to 4 cubs. So we are seeing how this cheetah translocation is working out. This is too early to draw any conclusions. One more thing is that the Kuno National Park, it has a core area of 748 square kilometer and buffer zone of 487 square kilometer. So basically, if these many cheetahs are translocated into Kuno National Park, we have to think on the lines of how much area does a cheetah really need. So some experts say that one cheetah needs almost 100 square kilometer for its movement. The total area is closer to 1200, somewhere around 1200 square kilometer, and the number of cheetahs are like more than 20. So in that case, is the area of Kuno National Park sufficient? That is why they are considering relocating some of the cheetahs to these wildlife sanctuaries. But the problem is that these wildlife sanctuaries are not well equipped or prepared to house the cheetah population. But there is another line of thought which says that we really don't know about cheetah because it became extinct in 1952. Now only we are learning about them after the relocation. So that is also one line of thought. This is what is there in this article. But from prelims point of view, we will see about the species of cheetah itself. We will see about this project cheetah, and we will also discuss a little bit about the Kuno National Park. Alright, so first, Project Cheetah is the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project. There has been translocation, but this is the first case of large wild carnivore. So this is not like zoo. There are lions in America zoos. They are not let into the wild. But these cheetahs are introduced in the wild. So this is world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project. So in this particular project, a coexistence approach is being favored. So the cheetah will coexist with other predators like leopards, hyenas, etc. So this kind of coexistence approach is favored by social scientists. And this particular Kuno National Park, it is a unfenced protected area. So that is also one thing to be noted. And the nodal authority which implements Project Cheetah is the National Tiger Conservation Authority. I'll write it here. National Tiger Conservation Authority. NTCA is the nodal authority, and the plan for this Project Cheetah is that there will be 50 African cheetahs which would be brought from Namibia in the next 5 years. So this is the aim. So we'll see about cheetah now. First we have discussed Project Cheetah. Now we will start discussing about the animal cheetah. So cheetah is the oldest of the big cat species, and currently there are only 7,500, closer to 7,500 individuals only for the cheetahs. So overall, cheetah is seen as vulnerable in the IUCN list, but the Asiatic cheetahs and the Northwest African cheetah, that is the Egypt, Libya region, that is the Northwestern African areas, the cheetahs found in Asia and Northwest Africa, they are considered to be critically endangered. So much so that the cheetah range in India was right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. But if you see, it has become extinct, and now it is introduced in a particular national park in MP only. So you can see cheetahs have lost 90% of their global habitat, and they live around 9% of its historic range only. So the extinction of cheetah in the wild in India is a biggest example of why there is this much of habitat shrinkage. So there are differences between African cheetah and Asian cheetah. Okay, so now we have relocated this African cheetah because initially we wanted to relocate Asian cheetah only, but Iran, which houses the only population of Asian cheetah, they refused. So we had to relocate from Namibia and South Africa. So this African cheetah, their IUCN status is vulnerable, and they are found all over Africa. They have a slightly brownish and golden skin, and this particular spots, they have prominent spots as well as lines, and their skin, the color of their skin is more prominent, the spots are more prominent, right? They have lines on their face. Here you can see, here you can see, They have lines on their face. That is also prominent. Compare this to Asiatic cheetah. They are smaller than African cheetah and they have a pale yellow skin. So if you see here, African cheetah has a darker skin compared to the Asiatic cheetah, and they have more fur under the body, especially on the belly. You can see here, they have more fur, especially on the belly. Currently, these Asiatic cheetahs are found only in Iran with less than 100 individuals left. So, as I already said, it became extinct in the wild in 1952, and according to IUCN classification, Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered. See, important thing to note for MCQ is that Asiatic cheetah is not extinct. It is critically endangered. It is extinct only in India. Okay. And the Kuno National Park, where it has been relocated, why this was chosen? Because it has a very healthy prey population. That is cheetah, which is a species of deer, sambar, which is also a deer, nilgai, which is a blue cow. It is literally translates to blue cow, wild pig, chinkara, it is a gazelle, something like a deer, cattle. So there is abundant prey population. So Kuno National Park was chosen. And secondly, leopard and striped hyena are the other large carnivores, and there was only one tiger in this Kuno National Park, and it was returned to Ranthambore. This is in Rajasthan. It was returned to that place. So currently in Kuno National Park, there are leopards, striped hyenas and the cheetahs. Okay, that's it for this article. So second article is about governor's powers. So it was written by P.D.T. Achari, who was a former secretary of Lok Sabha. So he is talking about the powers of governor. Alright. So whether the governor has the power to withhold assent to a bill, how long a governor can sit on a bill, how long can he defer from giving approval to a bill, that is defer, that is delay. How long can the governor delay the approval to a bill? So on these topics, governor giving assent to the bill, that is the topic. Okay. So why this piece is in news? Because Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution urging the President of India to fix a timeline for assent to be given to bills passed by the Assembly. Why this was passed? Because lot of bills that were passed by the Assembly were pending the assent of the governor. And Tamil Nadu government, they passed a resolution requesting the President to direct the Governor of Tamil Nadu to give approval to these bills, to take action on these bills. So, pendency of bills under the Governor, that is the topic. So, in this topic, what are the relevant articles? The first article that we need to see today is Article 355. So, according to this, it will be the duty of the Union to ensure that any state government, their governance is carried on according to the provisions of the Constitution. That means the Union has to ensure that no unconstitutional acts are happening in the state. Another article is Article 200. Okay. So this particular article says that governor has to act when a bill is passed by the assembly and presented to him. So he can act in a certain ways. We'll see more about Article 200. So if the bill is presented to him, what and all options does he have? He can give assent. He can withhold assent, that is refuse. He can send it back to the assembly to reconsider it. In this case, if the assembly passes with or without suggestions of the governor and it is presented back to him again, he has to give assent. And lastly, he can reserve the bill for President's consideration. So these are all the options available to the governor when a bill is presented to him. This is specified in Article 200. Okay, so coming back, we saw that Article 355 says that Union government should ensure that the government of a state is carried out according to the provisions of the Constitution. So Article 200 talks about how a governor should act when a bill is presented to him. So, he has all these options. Whether he can sit on the bill. Is it given here? Can he delay his assent to the bill? It is given here? No, it is not given in Article 200. Right? So, then it is considered in a way unconstitutional. That is why Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution calling the attention of the President. So, in this situation, if he is sitting on the bill indefinitely, he is creating a situation wherein the government of the state is not carried on in accordance with the constitutional provisions. That is why Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution requesting the President to give directions to the governor. So these are the two important articles with respect to this topic. So we'll see more about withholding assent. Withholding is, as we saw, refusal of assent. So can the governor really refuse to grant assent in exercise of his discretion? That is, can he himself decide whether or not to refuse assent to a bill? So, in that angle, we have this passage from D.D. Basu, who is a constitutional author. He is a subject matter expert in constitutional issues. We know he has written several books on this subject. So, what he says is that he is drawing a parallel from the UK government. There in UK, we have the sovereign. Sovereign is the king or the queen. King or queen, right? So D.D. Basu, he says that the position of the governor in this respect is that of the sovereign in England. In theory, the sovereign can refuse to give his assent, but this right has not been exercised since the reign of Queen Anne. The veto, that is, if he is refusing assent to a bill, it is considered as veto. The veto could now only be exercised on ministerial advice. That means he can refuse assent to a bill only if the Council of Ministers says so. And no government would veto bills for which it was responsible. Right? The government of the day, they'll only introduce a bill in the assembly. And that bill will get passed by one house or two house if they are present, and they will be finally presented to the governor. If that government, they only introduce the bill, they are not going to ask the governor to refuse assent to the bill. Right? That is what is given here. The veto could now only be exercised on ministerial advice, and no government would veto bills for which it was responsible. Refusal of royal assent on the ground that the monarch strongly disapproved of a bill or that it was intensely controversial would be unconstitutional. So, according to D.D. Basu, the refusal of assent to a bill, that also will happen according to the aid and advice of Council of Ministers, and there is no discretion. If he exercises discretion in this regard, then it is considered as unconstitutional. So, all in all, it says that the governor can withhold assent to a bill only on ministerial advice. Why he should act on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers, that is specified in Article 154. But if the Council of Ministers, that is the government of the day, they only introduce the bill, right? One of the minister introduces the bill in the assembly, right? Why the Council of Ministers would advise the governor to withhold assent to the bill, right? The bill is the policy of the elected government. They will introduce a bill according to their policy, what the government believes in, right? And that bill is passed by the assembly. Then governor, who is an appointee of union government, he is not responsible to people. He is responsible to the union government, right? But the government, the state government is responsible to the people. So a bill reflects the policy of the government, and when the bill is passed, the governor, who is an appointee of union government, who is not responsible to the people, he can't say no out of his discretion. Okay, so under the constitutional scheme, the governor is only a constitutional head, no real powers. That means he is just a nominal head. So the real head, who is the real head? The real head is the chief minister in the state. Okay, so in case of withholding of assent, he can refuse giving assent to the bill only on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers and not discretion. So there is a case law in this regard which is Poche Pharmaceuticals Limited versus the state of Bihar and others. So when that governor can reserve a bill for the consideration of the president. When he reserves a bill for consideration of the president, there he can use discretion. So according to Article 200, these are all the options available. Okay, so he can give assent, that is according to aid and advice of Council of Ministers. He can withhold assent according to the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So to send it back to the assembly and the assembly returns it, he has to give assent. But in case of reserving the bill for president's consideration, then discretion comes. Only in this case, discretion can be exercised. This is very important from MCQ point of view. Alright, so this analysis is important from mains point of view. Okay, moving on to the next article, it is about marriage equality. Marriage equality is about same-sex marriage. So marriage equality means what? If heterosexuals, that is, if a man and a woman marry, then it is considered as a legitimate marriage. It can be registered under Hindu Marriage Act, Special Marriage Act, Christian Marriage Act, whatever the act may be. But if a man and a man marry, or if a woman and a woman marry, that is not recognized by law. So there is no marriage equality. Heterosexual marriage has the recognition of law, whereas the marriage between same-sex individuals, it doesn't have the recognition of law. So there is marriage inequality. There is marriage inequality. And the petitioners in the Supreme Court, they want marriage equality. Marriage equality. So that is what it means when it comes to marriage equality. So this particular article, it talks about marriage equality, why it is needed. Now we will see an analysis about the same-sex marriage. Why is this analysis appearing in the newspaper? It is because Supreme Court is hearing petitions from LGBTQ petitioners seeking same-sex marriage equality. So why is marriage equality needed? Generally, if a person is remaining single and they are choosing to not get married, it is frowned upon by the family. And married couples are more accepted and they are respected than non-married couple. So to gain legitimacy under the eyes of the society, the same-sex couples want to get married. So if the LGBTQ persons are not allowed to marry, then it excludes them from full benefits of participating in family and community life. As I already told, it prevents them from getting social acceptance. If they get social acceptance, then only they can have a proper community life. They can participate in the family. Married couples are more accepted in the family. If someone has a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they can't bring that person to family functions openly. But if it is a husband or a wife, they can bring that person to family functions with dignity. So that is not being offered for the same-sex couples, and hence they are fighting for marriage equality. So I have already talked about this. So the LGBTQ persons, they can go or join the families of their partners as a legitimate son-in-law or a daughter-in-law. Instead of being an outsider, they want to be part of family. Everybody deserves to be a part of family. They need that love and affection, so which is not being allowed for LGBTQ persons. So what does marriage give? Can two persons not live indefinitely together? But marriage gives some legal conveniences, some legal rights. So only married partners can open joint bank accounts. They can buy or rent a property jointly. They can own and share financial assets. They can hold bonds. They can hold shares together. They can be recognized as a relative under the Indian Income Tax Act. A partner who is not married to their respective partner, they can't be recognized for taxation purposes. There has to be a legal title of husband or wife to be recognized under the law. And the person can access the spouse's health and life insurance. Everybody, when they are working, they will get family insurance, health insurance, etc. from their employer. Only if they are married, they can access their spouse's health and life insurance. Inherit a spouse's assets if one partner dies. So if they are not a married couple, then the properties of this partner, if they pass away, it goes to their family of origin. Family of origin, instead of going to their partner who would have lived with them for many years. If they had been married, then the assets of this spouse who has passed away would go to the husband or the wife, which is not possible if they don't get married. These are some of the tangible benefits of marriage. Apart from this, there are some intangible benefits of marriage. So, gaining of legitimacy, respect and affection, and they can fully participate in the family events. So, if there is marriage equality, they can fully participate in family, then it increases family bonds and increases family unity. So, these are all the intangible benefits of marriage. So, even now the public opinion about same-sex marriage has changed. After the decriminalization of Section 377 of the IPC by the Supreme Court, many of the corporate companies, they have practices which are more inclusive. They include the LGBTQ folks in their policies. They can be themselves. So, if they are creating inclusive policies, it should have faced a backlash if the society is not ready for it. But these policies, they have not led to negative consequences. So instead, they have led to positive consequences, because if there are inclusive policies, there will be a diverse workforce, and if the employee thinks that he or she is valued and respected, then they'll be more loyal and engage positively with the company. So there has been only positive benefits with respect to inclusive policies. So marriage inclusion might also lead to a positive development. Finally, the LGBTQ citizens, they have the right to participate in one of the society's major institution, which is marriage. And by virtue of marriage, they can participate in family. So the argument is, we have some legal benefits which are mentioned here, and we have some moral benefits which are mentioned here, which will be boosting the morale. improve the acceptance of LGBTQ persons, and the author is also taking a practical example and explaining how there is acceptance, and we need not worry about marriage equality facing a backlash from general public, because it has been already tested in corporate India and it has been successful project. So this can be translated into our laws also. That is what the author is saying. We have to see the other side of the coin, that is arguments against marriage equality. Traditionally, marriage is defined as a union between man and a woman. So, allowing LGBTQ persons to marry, it would somehow distort the union. This is the argument from conservatives. Another important argument is that allowing for same-sex marriage, it will be based on a law, and it is up to the legislature to amend the Special Marriages Act, and it is not the domain of the Supreme Court. That is another argument. And another argument is that in the Navtej Singh Johar case, which decriminalized section 377, according to this, it has only been decriminalized. That is sexual intercourse between same-sex persons, it has only been decriminalized and it has not been legitimized. It's not like sex between the same gender is considered as a legitimate. It is not the commonly accepted social norm. That is also another issue. If it is not a commonly accepted social norm, how can it become a law? Only if there is a norm, it can be codified to form a law. If the same-sex person relationship is not even a social norm, how can it be codified into a law? That is another question. This is from sociology point of view. And in this particular Navtej Singh Johar case itself, the court said that same-sex marriage is not a fundamental right under Article 21. Article 21 is about right to life and dignity. So in this particular judgment, Navtej Singh Johar case, the court had not said, they had explicitly said that this doesn't amount, same-sex marriage, this doesn't amount to right to life and dignity. These are all some of the arguments. Out of these, very valid argument is of the social norms. This is a very important argument. And second is this legislature. It is not the domain of the judiciary to bring about this policy change. This is also another argument. These are all very valid arguments. Let us see what the Supreme Court is going to rule on this particular case. Now, moving on to the next article, it is saying that the Vibrant Villages plan will be merged with PM Gati Shakti. Now, what is this Vibrant Village plan and what is PM Gati Shakti, we will see. Then we will understand why it is being merged. Okay, so this Vibrant Villages program, it is to develop infrastructure in the villages along the China border. So it is available in 4 states and 1 union territory along the China border, which will be Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. So we have 4 states and 1 union territory. This Vibrant Villages scheme is implemented in the states that border China, especially to develop infrastructure and open up villages along the China border for tourists, so that always there are people available in these villages. If it is a barren land, it is easy for China to occupy that area. Instead, if we are retaining that population, it will be difficult for China to claim that particular piece of land. So the main aim is that if we are developing infrastructure, we can arrest migration of this population. Generally, if they are located in these undulating terrain, they might not have a lot of facilities. They might not have a lot of avenues for employment. That is why people migrate from these villages. But instead, if infrastructure is developed, we can arrest the migration. And moreover, if the villagers are present, we can even gather intelligence from the people. Generally, 2,967 villages along the India-China border are covered in this Vibrant Villages scheme. Now, this scheme is being merged into PM Gati Shakti. So, it is a project that brings 16 ministries together which are engaged in infrastructure connectivity projects. So basically this Gati Shakti is a digital platform that is bringing 16 ministries together which are working in infrastructure connectivity projects and allows them to coordinate. They can work in an integrated manner instead of working in silos, that is isolation. Instead of working in isolation, all these ministries which are engaged in infrastructure connectivity projects, they will be working in an integrated manner. That is PM Gati Shakti. So, this Vibrant Village scheme is also merged in this because this project is also an infrastructure development project. That is why it is being merged with PM Gati Shakti. One more important fact is about BISAG-N, that is the Bhaskaracharya National Institute for Space Applications and Geoinformatics. This BISAG-N, it is an institution that is located in Gujarat. So they will provide satellite images and GIS mapping of the projects. So this particular institution, they will be tracking the border villages through satellite images. So this is also one tidbit that we can glean from this article. Next article, it is about Bangladesh. Bangladesh has listed out its priorities for the Indo-Pacific region. And why it has done that? Because Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, she is going to visit Japan, US, UK. So, in the context of this, Japan, UK, US visit, the country of Bangladesh, they have released their Indo-Pacific outlook. So, it says that Bangladesh will work with all the stakeholders for peacekeeping, peace building and counter-terrorism initiatives in the Indo-Pacific region. So, it will focus on peacekeeping, peace building and counter-terrorism, and it is coming in support of rules-based international order, free and uninterrupted movement and trade. So, this is according to UN clause, United Nations Convention on the Law of Seas. So, according to this particular organization, there should be freedom of navigation in high seas. High seas meaning the sea that is not in the border of any country. It is a global common. It is for everybody. So, movement cannot be restricted. That is what it means when they say free and uninterrupted movement and trade. Alright. So, Bangladesh, they will also pursue the agenda of women, peace and security in the Indo-Pacific. So, Bangladesh is also supporting the existing structure of maritime security and wants to strengthen it. Again, they have talked about unobstructed oceanic movement. Why this has been talked about? Because of the South China Sea problem. South China Sea problem. Because China is blocking navigation in the South China Sea area, right? So, because of the South China Sea problem, Bangladesh and any other country, they will be affirming their support for unobstructed oceanic movement. So, by virtue of unobstructed movement, there will be free flow of trade despite future crises and emergencies. So, Bangladesh will strengthen regional and global value chains so that it might be future proof. It might be future proof and shock proof. So this is in the context of COVID pandemic. Because of that, supply chains were affected. So Bangladesh says that they want to strengthen their regional and global value chains. Shock proof, this is about the Ukraine war. Because of that, supplies got affected. So in order to be shock proof also, they want to strengthen the regional and global value chain. Now we will see some map pointings. With respect to Bangladesh, the most important are the rivers. We know that the Ganges river. So the Ganges river and the Brahmaputra river, they flow into Bangladesh. When Brahmaputra river enters Bangladesh, it becomes Jamuna. Then Ganges river and Brahmaputra river, they merge with Meghna river, and these three rivers after merging become river Padma, and Padma meets the Bay of Bengal. Okay, and other important locations are the Cox's Bazar. This is a port in the Chittagong province of Bangladesh. Here there is a Chinese base that is coming up. Chittagong is also important because the Rohingyas who were ostracized from Myanmar, they fled to Chittagong. Okay. So the Tropic of Cancer, it also passes through the country of Bangladesh. We have cities like Pabna, which was, we studied this Pabna agrarian unrest in modern India syllabus, right? Then we have studied about Rangpur in ancient history. So these are all some of the important locations with respect to map of Bangladesh. So that's it for our discussion. We will discuss some previous year question. Consider the following statements. Some species of turtles are herbivores. Some species of fish are herbivores. Some species of marine mammals are herbivores. Some species of snakes are viviparous. Which of the statements are correct? Some species of turtles are herbivores. Yes. For example, olive ridley. It is a turtle which is a herbivore. Some species of fish are herbivores. Yes. Some species of fish, they feed on phytoplankton, which are one-celled plant-based microorganisms. Some species of marine mammals are herbivores. Example, dugong. It is a kind of a sea cow. It is also a herbivore. Some species of snakes are viviparous. Viviparous means does not lay eggs. That is, some species of snakes, they give birth to their young ones. For example, boa constrictor. This is a species of snake. They give birth to their young ones instead of laying eggs. So all these statements are correct. So the answer is D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next question. It is a match question. Blue-finned mahseer, Kaveri River. Irrawaddy dolphin, Chambal River. Rusty spotted cat, Eastern Ghats. So in this, blue-finned mahseer is very important species. So it is present in the Kaveri River. Irrawaddy dolphin, it is not present in Chambal River. So it is present in Irrawaddy River, which flows through Myanmar. Also in India, it is found in the Chilika Lake in Odisha. Chambal River is located in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. So Irrawaddy dolphin is not found in Chambal River. Rusty spotted cat is present in Eastern Ghats. So the answer is, we can eliminate 2 here. So our answer is C, 1 and 3 only. Although elimination method has been eliminated by UPSC, here we still had knowledge about blue-finned mahseer and Irrawaddy dolphin, which have been in news largely. Okay, so you will be able to again use and make some educated guess. Last question. Why is there a great concern about microbeads that are released into the environment? A. They are considered harmful to marine ecosystems. B. They are considered to cause skin cancer in children. They are small enough to be absorbed by crop plants in irrigated fields. D. They are often found to be used as food adulterants. So the microbeads are actually plastic beads, microplastics. So it cannot be absorbed by crop plants, and it is not related to food adulteration. Okay, so option D is also wrong. It is considered as harmful to marine ecosystems. So if these microbeads are present, some species of fishes may consume these microbeads thinking that they are planktons. Once this fish consumes that, the bigger fish will consume this smaller fish, and like that this will move up the food chain and it will lead to biomagnification. So this is related to harmful for marine ecosystems. So for this question, A is the answer. That's it for today's discussion. Follow us on all the social media channels, and this is Indumati signing off. Thank you. All the best.